Hello, hello, welcome. Use Medicina here with your Wednesday Wellness Holistic Platica, as in whole healing, whole health, whole human healing. Um, so this is going to be a Wednesday offering. I can't give you a specific time on Wednesdays because, I'm a toddler mom and lots of stuff's going on. It is going to just be offered when you can, and it'll always be saved so you can come back to it. All right. Holistic healing to me is mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. It's addressing all aspects of ourselves so that we can heal the entire human in this iteration in our lifetime. Hello, winds of change. Okay, so I put on the title, Excess and Deficiency. So there are some really basic things in Chinese medicine, in holistic healthcare, that I think could be very helpful if we understand them. So excess and deficiency is one of these things. I do always want to preface by saying none of this is to be taken as gospel, as everything that you should be doing without the advice of your personal primary healthcare practitioner, under the specific individual care of someone who is colonial certified, colonial licensed, etc., but someone who you trust, who has clinical experience. Okay, all of us can read books, but until we've actually applied our knowledge in a clinical setting, we're not exactly sure the nuance, the intricacies. Okay, so let's just go for it. Excess and deficiency. These are words that we understand as what they mean. Excess being too much of something, deficiency being not enough of something. From a Chinese medicine perspective, we all have a certain amount of what we call jing, translated as essence or primordial essence, that is bestowed upon us from our parents, the amount of jing our parents had upon conceiving us. Now, depending on that depends on so many factors. How young were your parents? How old were your parents? Were your parents survivors of all kinds of crazy stuff? Were your parents relatively well off? Were they drunk? Was there rape involved? Was there intentional conception? All of these things, the stars, war times, peace times, by a river, in a car, it all creates the essence that is bestowed upon you upon conception. This acts as our reserve energies, as the energies we come into the world with. Throughout our lifetime, different things affect our essence, okay? Some of them include how much alcohol and substance abuse we partake in, how intense our lives are, things that go against nature, or really intense experiences like car crashes or injuries take a lot of essence. For women, the biggest general essence stripper is menstruation, and of course child gestation and childbirth. And for men, it's ejaculation. So the more we have these experiences in our life, the more depleted our essence becomes. Now, we have ways to restore our essence in the world, in life. These are qigong, breathing exercises, eating well, drinking enough water, resting when you must rest, okay? Stuff that would seem very intuitive if we weren't bombarded by false stimulation everywhere we go. So these are things that are going to pull from our reserves, okay? So if we think of essence as like the reservoir, the lake, that feeds into the tributaries, the rivers, okay? And the rivers that run are like your blood and qi, your blood and oxygen that you get from proper exercise. I don't even like the word exercise, from movement. If you look at our ancestors, hunter-gathering tribes, people who did dance as ritual, okay? People who moved their bodies. We had to find water and find food and carry it. That's our body moving. This isn't exercise. This is like the natural form of human beings, is to be moving. So if we're doing that kind of stuff, if we're eating enough and food that we can actually glean nutrition from, now we get into discussions as well about the kinds of people we're surrounding ourselves with, the kinds of community we surround ourselves with. What are the general environmental factors this day and age that may be pulling from our reserves? And then how do we, on a daily basis, give ourselves energy so that we're not depleting our reserves? For instance, if we don't eat all day long, because we don't have any energy we're receiving to run in our rivers, we are going to have to pull from the reserves. I'm not saying never to fast. I do believe that there is therapeutic benefit in intentional fasting through a method that does not that works with your constitution. Not all fasts are created the same, and not all fasts will be the same for the same people, or for different people rather. But in general, if you think of food as water in your rivers, then you don't have to pull from the reserves of your essence, okay? So this is just something to wrap your brain around about how human beings are created and how we spend energy on the daily. So work hard, play hard sucks up the essence, all right? So when we are having, let's bring it home. When we are having a symptom, any kind of symptom, one way to look at it, and there is a school of thought in Chinese medicine that is called the 8 principles, and we're looking at excess deficiency, yang and yin, hot and cold, exterior, interior. We're looking at all of those together. I'm only going to go over excess and deficiency, and mind you, I've been through years and years of schooling and years of clinical experience to offer you this information just as food for thought, okay? To know that we can understand our bodies and we can affect our bodies given the education we pursue about our bodies and their presentations, how our bodies give us messages on how to heal ourselves, okay? So we have a presenting symptom. First thing we want to ask ourselves is, do I need to add an extra thing? What do I have to add? Or, and this is something I think Americans don't think about a lot, do I actually need to take something away? As soon as we get sick, we're like, oh, I need this medicine. I better get these adaptogenic herbs. I better take this supplement, right? And you're adding. Maybe you're already excessive and you really just need to sit that ass down and rest, and that will fix your symptom, okay? So the reason why this comes up today is because of what in Chinese medicine we call kidney deficiency. In Chinese medicine, there's kidney yang and kidney yin, and they're respective of each other, and they affect one another. Yang being like hot and movement and air, and yin being like rest and moist and dark and feminine, yang being more masculine. We're going to ask ourselves, where is this pain coming from? So just some indicators. A pain that is sharp and stabbing and exacerbated if it's touched is excessive, okay? Like you don't want anybody to touch you. There's like all this excess gunk and you're like, oh, I can't even with you. That's an excess. A deficiency would be like a pain that wants touch, that wants to receive. So have any of you ever gone and got a massage, and during the massage, it feels like super great and they get real in there, but then afterwards your whole body aches? That's because you needed more of a restorative massage as opposed to a dispersing massage. Likewise, have any of you gotten a massage and it feels pretty good, but they don't get like deep in the knots? And then it just feels like still stuck there. So stuckness is a form of excess. Now here is the kicker. Excess and deficiency are always pretty intertwined, okay? So if you're an excess constitution is what we call like your general makeup. So if you have, from your essence, you have a more robust constitution, you were always a bruiser, you fall, you get right back up based on the gene given to your parents, you might tend toward excess. If you have a deficient constitution, you know, you've always been a little sickly, you're always tired, you're easy to get sick, you're really easily affected by other people, you might want to think about different things that you might need to add to your body presentation. Robust vegetables, beets, asparagus, kale, cooked. There's a whole science of cooking that I'm not going to get into right now as far as how to glean the best nutrients from what you eat. Raw in my educative curriculum and in my where I'm from is not necessarily the best. If someone is in a tropical climate and tropical fruits are growing on the trees and it's super hot, you're going to eat the cold tropical fruit because that's natural to your body at the time. So there's whole science about how to eat and regionally, right? That's beyond this conversation. But if you're somebody who's experiencing symptoms of deficiency, pale skin, dark eyes, not feeling strong. Chinese medicine and ancestral medicine is extremely qualitative, right? You go to the doctor, you're like, doctor, I feel just like tired all the time. They're like, well, let's give you this pill. Is that going to tonify or add to your essence? Is it going to offer energy to counter your deficiency? Al opuesto, on the opposite side, if you go and you're like, oh man, there's this pain, there's a stuckness, I feel heat in my intestine, that's an excess. Okay, so are they going to give you more pill that's potentially inflammatory, that your liver, oh, this is another thing, liver and kidneys, man, have to do so much work. When they get pills, they're even doing more work. So if you already have a deficient liver and a deficient kidney and an intoxicated liver, pills are really not going to, they're definitely not going to heal you. They might abate the symptoms based on the constituents of the laboratory process, chemical process, but they're definitely not going to holistically address the source of the issue. All right, so some things that are specifically coming up. If we are suffering from something that feels dull and achy and chronic, we probably need more rest, more vegetables, more water. Okay, of course, this is not to substitute you going to a practitioner who's going to look at you, at your face, at your eyes, touch your body, okay, and really see you. You need to be seen, not like the image in my head of you, okay? So there's some things. Now, excess-wise, are you feeling strong pains? Do you feel feverish? Do you feel hot? Do you have angry outbursts, okay? You might need to think about, what do I have to remove from my diet? Gluten, sugar, alcohol, smoking. Now, here's the thing, smoking, and this is why excess and deficiency are like intertwined and of different things. It's really crazy. It's like a crazy, beautiful science. I love it. I'm such a mad scientist in moments. If you smoke, you're going to get an excess of heat, right? So it feels tonifying. It feels like it's offering you something because you get all this energy moving. But while it's offering you that, it's drying your fluids out. And when it's drying your fluids out, and it's disallowing your lungs from doing the entire capacity of opening and receiving air, receiving oxygen. So it's also causing deficiency. But then that deficiency of fluids makes the fluids more stuck, which causes an excess because there's stuckness, and there's a disallowal of movement, which creates kinetic energy that can't move, which then creates more heat, aka excess. So all of our excess and deficiencies feed each other. It's complex, but I really wanted to bring it to like basics, and specifically with patients in my understanding and in my communities. Are you getting enough rest? Are you getting enough water? Are you getting enough vegetables? And are you abusing anything? I'm going to ask you that again. Intuition, are you abusing anything? You know you best. You know you best. No doctor knows you better than you, okay? You just have to like get over yourself and your self-denial and really listen when you hear what you need to hear from yourself. Make sense? Okay. So now I'm going to open it for questions. I had one question in my DMs, but and I will send that. Somebody actually asked me last time I said ask questions in my DMs. I'm changing that. email, eutimia@gmail.com. That gives me a much better way to, I get a lot of DMs, guys. So if you email me with question for Wednesday wellness, I can, and then I'll add you to my email list so you'll get my offerings and my discounts, etc. All right, cool. So first question was, somebody was asking me what the fermented drink I've been drinking is. It's called tepache, and I learned it recently how to make it from taking Panquetzani in Digimama's Matriz y Concha course. So I, with respect for her curriculum, I'm not going to tell you how to make it on here. You could Google it, honestly. And it's good for gut health because it has probiotics, which are basically, probiotics is a fancy word for a plethora of healthy bacteria that repopulate your gut and help the functioning. They can also be anti-inflammatory. Okay, so I'd really highly recommend you look into fermented foods as a source of gut healing. And honestly, in an age of YouTube, anything, you can find anything you want. But I also highly recommend taking Matriz y Concha. Save up for it. Panquetzani's knowledge is completely amazing and worth it. She has an unbroken lineage of home birthing and or natural birthing and postpartum care, and learned much of what she teaches from her two abuelitas, as well as another traditional sobadora. So she's a badass curandera total, and I highly recommend you support her. So that's what I've been drinking, and usually it's made out of pineapple, cane sugar, and canela, cinnamon. And fermentation is pretty much leaving it and letting the good bacteria and good yeast take over. Super delicious. Okay, now I'm gonna look at questions, and it might take a while. Be patient. I probably won't get to everyone's question by the time my baby gets home. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm loving your estilo today. Thank you for holding space. Thank you. I'm loving my estilo too. One of my homegirls had an estate sale and she brought me all kinds of stuff, and this has little nopalitos on it. She gave me this hat and these pants. Look at my pants, y'all. Yeah, I love them. Thank you. Thanks for noticing. Next, hi Maite. Maite, the womb doula who's on here, is also an amazing reference for traditional Mexica medicine. Sobadas, which means like organ massage, moving babies in the belly, all kinds of dietary stuff. So please follow her, and please follow all of our traditional medicine keepers, y'all. It is time for us to heal ourselves. And unfortunately, the complex doesn't have the answer for that. They have really, really freaking cool, amazing scientific interventions if we need them. But we don't necessarily need them. We can heal ourselves in a lot of ways. So learn as much as you can. Aye. Hi, my comadre Mariah. I love you. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Right, my stomach is always bad. So this is, I'm glad you said that. This is another thing to look at. Bad and good are relative, right? What do you mean? And this is why we want to like unknot this. Does it burn? Does it feel stuck? Does it feel sunken? Does it feel like there's a bola in it, like a ball stuck in it? Do you have gas? Do you have gurgling? What do you mean my stomach is always bad? Okay. A lot of the times you'll go to the MD and they'll prescribe, I learned this last week on this, PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, aka antacids, and that might not be what you need. You need some inflammatory foods. Hydrogenated oils are going to F us all up in all different kinds of ways, so processed foods, and we don't talk enough about that, and our bodies become addicted to them because of the bacteria in our guts. So I highly recommend a book called Gut and Psychology Syndrome, GAPS. You might have heard of the GAPS diet. It's by a doctor named Natasha Campbell McBride. And what it talks about is how the bacteria in the gut are associated with how the brain works. So look that up, and there's a whole diet protocol that goes with it. It's really intense, but also really, really brilliant and awesome. Okay. Hi, hello, Miss Bueno. Nice to see you. Currently dealing with SIBO. I don't know what that is. SIBO. Please enlighten me. I always have stuff to learn. Always have stuff to learn. Okay, I have chronic gastritis. Okay, gastritis. Gastronomy means the intestines. Itis, inflammation. Why do you have gut inflammation? Because you're probably eating inflammatory foods. Now, the other thing from spiritual perspective, inflammation has to do with like excess anger, okay? And your large intestine, your tripa, is about shitting. It's about letting shit go. What anger are you holding on to? Who are you not forgiving? What the fuck are you eating? Okay, this is all, holistic healthcare is all about looking at ourselves and our habits and seeing how we can become agents of our own healing by shifting our lifestyles and healing emotionally. Me too, Melika. I don't know what that means either. I'm sorry. What advice do you have for someone who has to eliminate a lot to heal but feels left out and abnormal because everyone around me eats what they want, especially when going out? When we choose healing, we choose healing. Okay? So, our healing is never just physical. I'm guessing that you probably have a core wound, like from your childhood of feeling left out. And hanging on to old stuff. And I could be wrong about that. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Take what serves, leave what doesn't. When we choose healing, and you'll see all the holistic people online, all the brujas online are talking about when we start to heal, we have to lose people, right? Like, one of the things that was the hardest when I was doing clinical work before COVID, before my hito came, is that I have all this lifestyle information, right? But you could tell a mother of 4 with a husband who's a status quo kind of person to eat this way and do this, and then they go home and their kids don't want to eat what they cooked, and it's hard, right? You need to create a lifestyle of functioning comunidad that helps you, that helps keep you accountable. This might mean you don't go out with your friends to eat. You go home and make yourself your steamed vegetables. Okay, I'm not saying it's easy. It is not. It's fucking hard. But if you commit to it, you're committing to it. If you choose it, you choose it. And you might choose it sometimes and then decide, you know what? I want to go out and eat that pancake at 10 p.m. That's your choice. Give yourself that, right? Because we don't want to add insult to injury, right? We don't want to be like, oh, I ate that pancake at 10 and I suck and now my gut's going to be all fucked and I hate myself. No, you don't want to do that. You want to be like, you know what? I'm working really hard. Please, pancake, please give me all the good nourishment and let go of anything that isn't working for me after. I appreciate you. You know, like, give your pancake permission to nourish you, right? And you can do that with anything. So I have a little story for you. When I first started Chinese medicine school, maybe I was like a year in, I was like, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. And like, I was raised in the hood, eating a lot of industry meat, a lot of cheese, a lot of chili, a lot of tortillas, a lot of burritos, refried everything. And I loved it. But when I started getting woke, a lot of people getting woke are assholes, right? So I would come home and my tia would try to cook for me and I'd be like, no, thank you. Because I was like stuck in my self-righteous, I don't eat that, the industry this, the industry that, right? So anyways, I was visiting my abuelito and my tío in Baja, California. And we went to see this shaman. And he read my palm. And he told me like, oh, you're starving yourself because you don't want to get fat. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. Because I have a whole other thing. Like I never thought of myself, well, let me just say my hood mother gave me a talk when I was 11 that if I had an eating disorder, that wasn't acceptable. So I always ate. But what I realized is I was starving myself because I wouldn't eat based on my ethics around food, based on my newfound, oh no, I don't eat that. And I was like not eating, right? So I called my mom. And I'm like, Mom, the shaman, he said this and da-da-da. And I was all butthurt. And she just told me like this, Mija, that's why we pray over our food. And I was like, right? Because when you're raised, like my mother was raised in poverty, in, marginalized communities, you never know what you can afford. So you just offer the energy like you give thanks to your food and you change the energy like that. If you are like, that woo-woo shit doesn't work for me, please study Masaru Emoto, Masaru Emoto. He is a Japanese scientist who did the water experiments by putting names on or words on water and observing their molecular structure shift based on the energetics of the word he placed on water. If food is made of water, if people are made of water, the words we use matter. Okay, that's why there's an entire sect of curanderismo based on rezos, based on prayers, based on words. Okay, so give yourself permission to receive the nourishment of everything that you eat, and things will shift. Okay, and there's a physical body we have to take care of too. So we also want to know, is this full of chemicals and hydrogenated oils that are inflammatory to my gut? It all works together. Yeah, don't hang out with people who make you feel left out. Boundaries. All right. I haven't had a period for 2 months. Motherwort. Hi, querida. Okay, so this is one of those, like, not all information works for all people. Motherwort is a really strong yerba that is Leonidas cardiacus. It's all about the strength of a mother. I would use motherwort like to prepare for birth and after birth, and if you have to have strong boundaries. If you look at motherwort, the flower is like pink with picas. It's like, don't fucking touch me, I'll cut you, but I'm pretty to look at. Hi. Motherwort is really about boundaries, I think. With you, because I know your background, like what I think you need is consistent bi-weekly or weekly care of sobando la matriz and a lot of like old stuff to release. You need consistent care. And that is something that I actually recommend for everyone. So currently, right now, I actually just went today. I've been receiving treatment from this beautiful man for twice a week for the last 3 weeks, and we're working on a lot of lineage stuff. I come from old New Mexico, Bruja territory, and there's some old, like, ugly stuff in my lineage that we've been healing. I'm like ugly crying and snot everywhere and screaming, and it's great, right? He also rubs my panza every time I go, and he rubs my feet and he rubs my shoulders, and I pay him. So like I was thinking about talking to you all, especially from colonized people who aren't used to spending money on ourselves. What an act of revolution it is to invest in your healing. You're not just giving somebody a bunch of money. You are investing in your well-being through someone who you believe in. Okay? And people will cut you deals, you know, if you're like really like, this is my budget, but I'm fucking dedicated. And for those of you who are more well off, for those of you who have lineages, who have benefited off stolen land and stolen labor, pay for somebody's healing. Okay? There are a lot of ways that we can commit ourselves, and then the things will fall into place, but you have to be willing to look at your own stuff. Okay, you could even, for not having period for 2 months, again, I'm going to straight up recommend Panquetzani and her class Matriz y Concha. It's all about self-womb healing, healing from trauma, learning the anatomy of your womb, learning the foods for the womb. She asserts, which is true, that womb health is connected to gut health, so diet is super important, okay? I love you, Diana. Processed foods, yeah, it's a big deal. I eat super clean, no alcohol, gluten-free, but still. So then I would wonder, like, not all diets are created the same, right? Like, super clean means one thing for one person and one thing for another person. And just because you're eating clean, what about the quality? Like, if you get organic everything, but it's crackers and bread and eggs and pasta, that's still all phlegmy. Right? Are you only eating a bunch of salad greens that's really cold and you have undigested food in your stool? It's not all the same, which is why if you're having specific issues, you need to go and see someone for your specific presentation. Now, when it comes to, I'm not eating processed food, but I still have all of this, either constipation. Constipation is like, why aren't you letting go? What are you holding on to? Diarrhea is like, do you value anything? Do you want to keep anything for yourself? Or you just free for all? If you're having gurgling or gas, that's a whole other thing, okay? You will be able to notice if you start paying attention. Pay attention. After I eat this, I feel like this. When I drink this, I feel like this. When I see this person, I feel like this. When I do this activity, it makes me feel like this. Our intuition always knows if we give ourselves permission to trust it. All right. Any insight on might? I don't think that's what you meant to say. I'll wait to see if you... ¿Cómo se llama de nuevo qué? Panquetzani se llama la maestra y su página es Indigémama y su clase se llama Matriz y Concha. Oops, any insight on migraines, especially headaches linked to muscle tension in the back. So muscle tension, stuckness is all excess. You need twice a week massage to go in there. You need to do restorative things like breathing and taking care of yourself. You need to diminish stress. You need to check your reactions to things that you can't control. Okay? The back right here, also according to Ifa, they call it the seat of illusion. Are you in denial? Are you being treated badly by someone you love, but you just take it? Okay? Some physical things you can do is breathe and then inhale and stretch. Get this nice stretch in here and breathe and inhale. Oh, it feels so nice. Okay, you can also rub it every morning, rub it every night. Eat foods that are strong in red color, dark color, that add to the blood, that help the blood move, and get your body moving. Release your stress. Tension and stress are because of tension and stress. So how do you give your body a different way out instead of just carrying it right here? Okay. Oh, migraines. So that's migraines. Migraines can be deficient or excessive. From a Chinese medicine perspective, on the sides is usually like liver, gallbladder related. That's generally like too many fats, too much anger. Front is stomach, again, like too many spicy foods maybe. Stuckness right here, inability to nourish yourself properly. Up top, like it feels better with pressure, is a deficient headache. Are you getting enough nutrients in general? Are you eating enough, period? Are you a mom who just give, and then you don't eat until 5 p.m.? Okay, back of the head is usually like tension headache related. Again, please find a practitioner. Find a practitioner, invest your money in your well-being and not in the complex, because they will charge you $3,000 and not give you shit except a test that doesn't tell you shit. And then you'll still pay them $300 or $3,000. So find somebody who you trust and literally pay a person to help you heal. You're welcome for that advice. Ooh, yeah. Currently, I've been making fancy tepaches. I have. It's been so much fun for me. Yeah. Serious gut issues. I have to take a laxative daily. Yeah, so, you're welcome to schedule a consult with me. You can find it in my link tree in my bio, and we can talk more personally about that. Gut issues are related to... there's so much, but trauma. Once you start dealing with your childhood trauma, your gut will shift. I freaking love you too, yeah. You like my pants? Yeah. SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Thank you. In Chinese medicine, the small intestine is responsible for the discernment, for the separation of turbid from pure. So what the small intestine does, according to my understanding, is it is the organ that receives your food matter right before it goes into the large intestine and the bladder. So your small intestine decides what is excrement, what are you going to shit and piss out, or what are you going to be reabsorbing through osmosis, the nutrients that are actually going to feed your body for thriving. So from a consciousness standpoint, when you have small intestine issues, it has a lot to do with not being able to make decisions or having bad boundaries. Okay, so if you're having an overgrowth, from my understanding, I would ask you what in your life isn't serving anymore that you just keep hanging on to, and why. Is it an old belief system? Are you scared that somebody's going to leave you? Are you like attached to the memory? When it comes to colonized people, specifically, like in my experience as a Chicana, as somebody who has indigenous roots to this land, but it got like ripped up, right? Clearly, I have European roots as well. But like, I was raised with indigenous understanding, and we have a lot of hoarding in my family, because when you're ripped away from your land, when you're constantly pushed away, right, and taken from yourself, you want to hold on to everything you can, right? That's my consciousness understanding. So I would really take a look at what trauma is keeping you from getting rid of shit that no longer serves you, figuratively and literally. Girl, I got so much anger in you. What are you doing about that? How are you constructively releasing your anger? You don't have to answer that. Think about it. Forgiveness and rage, bacterial. I would love to hear your thoughts around fertility through this lens. Thank you so much for your labor. Okay, speaking of my labor, my Venmo is EUTIMIA-MONTOYA. My Cash App is Muse Medicina. And my PayPal is EUTIMIA@gmail.com. Please pay a homegirl for her labor. Any amount works. No amount is too small. If you want a consult with me, you can find that in my bio. I teach a birthing class. It's dropping again September 17th, and we cover all of this fertility base. So please look at that. And that's going to come up, or you can email me for a further explanation. Me and my partner, he's my tech guy, are going to make that live like tomorrow or the next day. And you can purchase it or get on a payment plan. I'm not completely decided on the price yet, but there's a lot of things. Blood is huge when it comes to fertility. Do you have enough oomph? Do you have enough nutrition? Do you have enough blood to actually house a baby and feed it and grow it? Okay. Are you with the right partner? Why are you trying to get pregnant? Is it out of fear because you're getting too old? Is it out of love because you want to procreate? Like, there's so many things from mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical standpoint. So I highly recommend my birthing basics class coming at you soon. Stay tuned. It's hard to forgive. It's fucking hard to forgive. Work. It's for you though. Remember, forgiveness is for you, not for them. Yes, to the bloatedness. We're not gonna go there right today. It's a lot. My stomach has always been bloated for years. Even when I lose weight, my belly is still heavy. So that's another thing. Once again, I'm going to pump Bunkett Sunny's class. Gut health, man. Gut health runs deep. I'm pretty sure that a lot of our gut issues start when we're vaccinated as children, because of the way the bacteria, it's just not natural. Also, C-sections, I think, have a lot to do with that as well, because the vaginal bacteria and even the fecal bacteria that happens through vaginal birth inoculates our gut biome to help it work well. There's so many helpful things about like all the bacteria that's received into the newborn in their nose and their mouth, on their privates. I don't even like to say privates, on their genitals and anus during vaginal birth. It's really helpful. And the whole like cleaning them up and then inoculating them with a bunch of chemicals that then the body has to decipher is really problematic for our natural body's ability to metabolize and populate with the proper bacteria for optimal metabolic action, if that makes sense. Yeah, so the bloating, honestly, I would just say kind of like talk to your spleen. Bloating in Chinese medicine has to do with the spleen. This is my left side. The spleen is on the left side and the stomach's right under the heart. And the spleen detests damp. So if you're eating greasy, fried stuff, bloating is just kind of a natural thing. Milk, sugar, even fruit, if it's like cold. Try drinking hot water hot ginger tea. Ginger's a food, but hot water by itself does wonders. Hey, Joshua. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Who is this guy? I don't know. That's why I love you I'm not from New Mexico. I'm from Denver, but my lineage is from New Mexico, and they were crazy brujas. I fucking know it. You don't even want to hear a lot of shit. Crazy shit. Crazy. Ugh, the East Coast needs healers like this. I got sick because as an Iraqi, all we eat is fried red meat, canola oil stews. Tastes so good, but so bad over time. You just have to balance it out. And honestly, look at your ancestral foods. Like, is that Iraq post-colonialism, post-industry, that you were like forced to homogenize your diet? Like, what did your great-grandparent eat generally? I've had a constant left lower shoulder blade for years that I can't get rid of. Feels internal. If it wasn't due to an injury, or even if it was, I would wonder like what the matriarchal burden feels like for you. It could have to do with that. Or if you're just in general feeling like you're overburdened because of your femininity, because you have to carry all the men. I would love to know about releasing anger and sadness from old stuck places. You know, the more I get healing done, especially by the healer I'm working with right now, and my comadre Charmaine, you guys can make Charmaine does amazing remote sessions. Body Talk in general is an amazing consciousness-based medicine, quantum medicine that helps you move through a lot of old stuck shit. And you don't need to be present to do that. You're also welcome to connect with me on my Instagram or on my Facebook in my link tree, and to get a consult with me where we can see what, according to my seeing, needs the priority for healing. Okay. Nature is also really good. I often recommend to my patients to go to a river, go to a creek, go to an ocean, go to a place where the natural energy is going to, okay, and then flow with it. We're taught so much, don't cry, state quieta, be a good girl, be a lady, like fuck that shit, rage, okay, in a way that isn't harmful to you and other people. So the river is great for that. All right. So we did the whole, y'all, I'm going to put y'all right here, and I'm going to answer my Facebook. Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody. The liver, man, yeah. What about waking up a million times at night? Is it to pee? Waking up at night can have to do with kidney deficiency. It can also have to do with excess heat, which would be related to smoking. But smoking also creates deficiency. So something you could do is soaking your feet to ground the energy and tonify the liver, kidney, and spleen before bed. But also checking your diet. Something that helps me sleep is making sure I sweat during the day to release excess energy. SIBO is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Would something like iron deficiency, anemia fall into the deficiency side of understanding? Because I feel like I fall usually in the excess side of things. And what advice do you have for treating that? Please make an appointment with me and we can go more in depth. Anemia is based on the blood count, whereas in Chinese medicine we see blood deficiency as like the robustness of the blood cells. Like, you don't have to be anemic to be blood deficient. You could just not have the most robust blood cells. So eating a lot of blood-like foods, red meat from a good source is really good, like eating actual blood in the meat, like serves like. It's generally about diet stuff, in eating easily assimilatable and digestible foods. Oh, I miss your healing. I have 5 herniated discs and I'm trying to avoid surgery. You know, sometimes surgery is fucking good. Sometimes surgery is great. Surgery is miraculous. And if it's kind of like how I work with antibiotics, like sometimes I have the space and time and energy and will to to stop eating this, stop eating that, cut all the shit out of my diet, sleep for a million days. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? Give me the fucking antibiotics. They're amazing medicine. They're very cold and you have to repopulate your microbiome after taking them. And I haven't taken them in years, but like I will, you know? So give yourself like space to revel in the marvels of scientific based medicine. But also ask yourself, what can I do to affect this? Okay. Now, where did the herniated disc come from? Are you constantly lifting shit that's too heavy? Are the discs in your upper, your mid, your lower back? If they're in your lower back, what's up with your foundation? Are you choosing things that aren't healthy for you? If they're in your mid back, do you have like, are you like wishy-washy, right? If they're in your upper back, heart, lung related, okay? I'm getting there in like your lower back, and you know, like that's also a deficiency thing. If there's not enough to hold, like how are you offering to you? How are you healing yourself? Maybe if you had like, you know, a month of rest and you got to be taken care of, your herniated discs would heal themselves. All right. Hi, Prima Tori. Congratulations on your wedding. Woo! All right, y'all. Once again, my name is Eutimia Cruz Montoya. I am a lineage hands-on healer and acupuncturist, Chinese medicine doctor. I offer these Wednesday wellness holistic platicas to answer your questions. Please save them, read them, refer to them. Please share them if you find them helpful. I am available for private consultations if you go to my link tree to find that. I also teach online classes. And if you, because you benefit from this content, because things in your own understanding will shift and your life will shift, please reciprocate my offering. Cash App Muse Medicina, PayPal EUTIMIA, eutimia@gmail.com, and my Venmo EUTIMIA-Montoya, MONTOYA. No amount is too small. I appreciate it. Share widely. And thank you for being here, and congratulations on moving toward understanding your body, toward understanding your health. And remember, you, and only you know what's best for you. Make sure you research all the options. Make sure you connect strongly to your fuck yeses and motherfucking no's, and make sure you check in with you before just listening to any old buddy, no matter how many degrees they have. Okay? Okay. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Goodbye.